Big interview. 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 Big interview.
All right. Welcome to our big interview, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for sticking around. Now, if you've ever had the experience of clearing a barrel in Jamaica, you know exactly what I'm going to say next. It takes long. But with a not so new initiative being introduced, Customs is hoping that complaint will become a thing of the past. It's called the Contactless Clearance Project. Customs piloted it during the Christmas period, and the results must have been good because they're going full steam ahead to officially roll out the program on May 1. Here today to help us understand what contactless clearance is all about and how it's going to benefit us all is Project Manager for the Customs Contactless Clearance Project, Mr. Kingsley Henry. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Vaughn, and it's nice to be back.
All right, yeah, man, great, nice. Because like I said, we did an interview back in the day.
Earlier this year, right?
We talked about it, so like I said, it seemed like everything worked out good for the pilot in Christmas. So that's why I'm rolling it out big, full steam ahead May 1.
Well, most things worked out, right? And that's why we are going ahead come May 1. We're not going compulsory contactless clearance to everybody come May 1, but we are going optional contactless clearance, right? Mm-hmm. And what optional contactless clearance means is that importers of non-commercial cargo can request contactless clearance through their agents. So you can, if you're sending a barrel or a box or whatever that is non-commercial to Jamaica, you can tell your agent that you want to use contactless clearance because you don't want to come down to the public bonded warehouse. You don't want to come down to the wharf, you don't want to come down to the port and have any long waits, right? So that's what we're doing come May 1, while we continue to work on some things over the next couple of months to move to a point where contactless clearance will become mandatory for all non-commercial imports.
All right, well, let's kind of circle back to the beginning. Let's talk about exactly what the Contactless Clearance Program entails. How is it different from what traditionally happens, and what's the advantages?
Right. So traditionally, most persons who would ship things via sea will be used to a situation where they have to come through the public bonded warehouses or the ports to do the clearance of their cargo, right? And they used to have a very long process. I remember the last time I was here, I went through every single step and it took a while, right? But the process is a long process. So you have to interface with your agent. You have to go to the agent's office, get them to submit the documentation, pay the agents, then move over to the port. Then you have to pay the port operator or the warehouse operator. Then you have to come to customs. You have to pay customs, and you're still not at inspection point yet, you know. So when you do all of that, the goods is then brought up for inspection. You have to wait because the officers have a lot of people dealing with. So you have to wait for the customs officer to come and give you instruction to open your barrel or open your box and to take the stuff out for inspection. And then after all that is completed, you still have a little further to go to the point where you can have the goods released and you can get the authorization to leave the port with the goods. That is what obtains now.
My goodness. I can just tell you. I tell you, like I said, most persons who hear that, them hear that and them just have flashbacks. It's like all this time and this energy is spent spend out down at the wharf trying to clear one barrel, and it seemed like it's going to take forever. So all right, we've established the problem. How is contactless clearance the solution?
And before I give you the solution, Vaughn, can I tell you that I work in the system, but I tell my relatives overseas, don't send me any barrels. Right? And I tell them don't send any barrels in my name either, right? And part of the reason for that is that even though you're internal and you might get a VIP treatment, the process is still a very long
Still the process, you know what I'm saying?
process is still a process. And so what we're moving to now, what we're saying to importers in this instance of non-commercial cargo, is that you don't have to go through the inspection part of it, right? Which is the longest part of it. So we're saying you can work with your agent. Your agent will submit your documentation to customs and your declaration. Your agent will work with you to facilitate payment of the customs charges. And customs will then do the inspection of your cargo without you having to be there. And when the cargo is released, your agent will be able to notify you and say the cargo has been released. You may come to the port or to the warehouse to collect your cargo. But even if you don't want to come, you may be able to say to your agent, all right, when the cargo is released, why don't you bring the cargo to me? All right, that is an option that is also available to the importers in this instance. And so by doing it that way, we are eliminating the most tedious part of the process, which is having the importers and our customers coming through the long hassle of waiting on customs inspections at the port and at the warehouses.
So a person might ask, all right, so contactless clearance, this is new, but boy, Mr. Henry, it sound like a money when you want to come charge man extra money, you know. I don't know. I mean, it might be better, but that means that it sound like, if you know, just like what them say, them have the express service. This will cost me more money, or what?
Yes.
What's the situation?
No. So on the custom side, we're not instituting any new fees. We're not increasing any fees. Right? There's no fees that customs is introducing for contactless clearance. So on the custom side, there will be absolutely no additional charges. But what we say to customers, if you engage a freight forwarding agent and you require add-on services, it may cost you, right? So what you need to ask your freight forwarding agent is when they give you a cost, is to ask them for the breakout of that cost. And if they tell you that there is a contactless clearance cost for customs inspection, we can tell you upfront that there is no such additional cost. Any additional cost must be from their end because they are offering a additional or a value-added service. So no additional charges on the customs side for contactless clearance.
Right. So one of the things, as we talked about it last time, one of the things that, you know, as you said, one of the features of the whole barrel clearing process, as you mentioned, is the inspection process. We know that the contactless clearance is supposed to eliminate the process where the person wants to come and, you know, view the inspection process. And so there's clearly an advantage there, but you know what, when you said to the persons who feel like, boy, Mr. Henry, me feel like the last time a barrel come with at 2 clocks, me say me to get and one alone come out of a barrel, you know, so I feel like we need for dead for watch what go on and see what's going on, that kind of thing. So there might be some suspicions about that. How do you allay those kind of fears from persons who may have that kind of idea?
And that's a fear place for people to be, and we understand why our customers will be there, right? Because for decades, this is a process that we have instituted where we expect you to be there, and we created this culture that is the only way that you can ensure the security of your items is by being present. And we're saying no, that's how it works. We're moving away from that. So there are safeguards that we can put in place to ensure that the process is safe, that your goods are handled in a sterile environment, and you can be rest assured that if something happens, then there's a process that we go through to do verification and to deal with any issues which may arise. So how are we dealing with the issues relating to security of cargo? One of the things that we are doing is we are rolling out come May 1 for contactless clearance body-worn cameras, right? And that is a first for customs. Last time that we were here, it was just a concept that existed. And now, come May 1, the Jamaica Customs is rolling out body-worn cameras to the officers who will be doing inspections in the contactless clearance environment. We have also worked with the operators at the warehouses to improve their CCTV surveillance systems. And we have said to them that your CCTV surveillance system must be robust. We have also said to them that the contactless inspection area must be sterile. So only the customs officer is authorized to be in there, and anybody else who's providing assistance is authorized to be in there, and they're not allowed to, for example, take bags or other means of conveyance into and out of those spaces. So we are doing everything, working with our partners who are the warehouse operators, to ensure the sterility and the security of the areas once somebody's cargo is being inspected. And if something goes wrong, there's a process. They will make a claim through their freight forwarding agents. The agents will contact the warehouse operators, and the proper investigations will be done to ascertain if during the inspection process anything went missing or anything was damaged during that process.
And let me just quickly remind everybody, we're here talking with Mr. Kingsley Henry. He's the project manager for the Customs Contactless Clearance Project at Jamaica, at the Jamaica Customs Agency, which is a new project. Not really new, but a fairly new initiative geared at helping you to spend less time at the wharf, clearing your barrel, etc., etc. But if you have any questions, any comments, Mr. Henry is right here. Like I said, spread bed down in the comment section. I want you all to come. Ask him, he's right here. Any questions you might have. This is where we get the feedback. We're trying to build a bridge between you and our technocrats so that we can create better understanding. If you have a question, anything you want to ask, anything you want to know, Mr. Henry is right here. You know what I'm saying? Just be nice. We know when people get real passionate when they come to customs and clearing the barrel.
Passionate about customs, right?
Exactly. Them get real passionate. You know, let's go with what Mr. Henry said.
One of the things that I said, Vaughn, is that if I wasn't in customs, I'd probably be as passionate as they are.
Exactly. So yeah, at least, but I'm glad you appreciate how the public views the process. We all know that, like I said, I personally have never been down there, but because of all the horror stories I've heard, I have no interest in wanting to go down there to participate in that process. No, however, I might just consider, man, you can send me a barrel, man.
Of course.
You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But like I said, guys, if you have any questions, anything you want to ask, anything you want to know, drop down in the comments, type it in. We might ask it to Mr. Henry right here and see if we can get an answer so we can keep some interactivity going on the show. All right? No, Mr. Henry, in terms of the contactless, as we mentioned, you're rolling it out on May 1, but you're not making it mandatory for everybody. Right. So that it seems like you're still working out a few things. So by when would you say, did you mention when you might transition, or customs might transition to making it a more mandatory process?
So why are we doing optional? We're doing optional come May 1 because there are some things that we still need to finalize, right? And one of the things that we need to finalize, and we think is central, is expanding the payment options available to our customers, right? We need to provide them more options to pay their custom duties to make it easier. What happens now is that the majority of persons or customers who are clearing non-commercial cargo would make their payment at the warehouses. And what we are trying to do is make it easier for them, provide online options. We are working with the major banks, and we're working on some other initiatives that we are confident over the next couple of months we'll be able to finalize. And once those are finalized, then what we'll be able to do is to say to the customers who are clearing non-commercial cargo that the only process that is available to you is contactless clearance. But until then, we are encouraging importers, we're encouraging agents to utilize the contactless clearance process, and especially for our agents, right? It is good practice for you now to get into the mix of learning the process, working with the process, so that when we go mandatory later this year, you won't have any delays that is caused by a knowledge gap, right? And so we encourage our agents to get on board and encourage your customers to utilize contactless clearance process come May 1.
All right. Well, naturally, I mean, I think when things are new, there are always teething pains. There are always teething pains, and you might have a little pushback from persons who are familiar with the old process. But this one sounds to be a step in the right direction. So, do you have plans for? As much as we are presently as part of that process now, in terms of spreading the gospel about the contactless clearance process in a far and wide way? Because I think there would have to be levels to it. Because naturally, you have to talk to the actual sector operators first, then the customers, to make them appreciate what's going on. So have you been meeting with, do plans to meet with persons to build that bridge, that sensitization situation, so that they can understand and appreciate? Because if I'm hearing this now, I'm thinking, okay, customs is doing this new thing. I need some more information. How do I get more information, or how can I link with customs so that we can, start getting the understation and bridge that knowledge gap, as you mentioned?
So our engagement with our key stakeholders is an ongoing process. So we have been engaging since last year, and we continue the engagement. We continue the engagement of our own internal stakeholders, engagement with our management and our staff, because they also need to be fully aware of contactless clearance. As we speak, there's an engagement going on now with freight forwarding agents, and we are going to be having further engagements with them going through the following weeks in May. So not because we start May 1 means that we are breaking off our sensitization sessions. We're going to be continuing those sessions. We're going to continue those engagements, because we understand, like any project, when you're implementing, there are things that will come up that you would need to adjust and to change. But more than anything else, we understand that once a system is optional, that you have to sell it. And so you will see the information out there. There's information available on our website at www.jacustoms.gov.jm. And you may also email us at contactlessclearance@jca.gov.jm, and we'll respond to your query, and we will take on board your comments and your concerns.
All right. Quick question from Shanna Salmon. She's asking, at what point in the sending/receiving of cargo do you select the contactless clearance option?
You may select it at the starting point. So you may indicate to your forwarding agent overseas that you would want your goods to be cleared using contactless clearance, right? So that's one option. The other option is at the point when your goods arrive in Jamaica, because if you're in Jamaica and you're receiving the goods, you may not know who your agent is, or you will not know who your agent is, right? Until you are contacted and say, oh, your goods have arrived, or the persons overseas would have sent you the documentation. So as soon as you are aware who your local agent is, then you may reach out to that local agent and say, look here, I hear about Customs Contactless Clearance, and that is a process that I want to utilize, because my boss won't allow me half a day, and my boss won't allow me an entire day to come down to the wharf to clear my goods. I only have an hour, so therefore I would like to utilize contactless clearance. All right, so that is it. So once you have your agent contact information, once you know who your agent is, your forwarding agent in Jamaica, then you may request contactless clearance. You may also request it at the point overseas to indicate that when your goods get to Jamaica, you want to utilize contactless clearance. But the main point is your local agent.
So your local agent will, I suppose, because the question then, okay, maybe I'm unfamiliar with the process, but is it a situation where an individual like me, or not, even if I choose not to, or is it advisable with this new contactless clearance process, would it be advisable for me as an individual to still try and clear the barrel myself? I mean, I'm just wondering if I can do it alone, or is it still advisable that I choose the services of a freight forwarder? Because I would imagine it would become a little easier with contactless clearance.
So Vaughn, you don't have an option, right? Okay. In terms of utilizing a freight forwarder. That is the only way that you can clear your shipment, okay. Non-commercial shipments. For the commercial shipments, you utilize a customs broker, right? Mm-hmm. Over a certain value, right? So the agents are the ones who submit the customs declarations, which are electronic declarations. Mm-hmm. We move away from the day when you used to write up paper to submit customs. Mm-hmm. All that is done electronically. And the agents are the ones who have access to the customs automated system for customs data, which is ASICUDA. Mm-hmm. So an individual doesn't have access to that system. So the only way to access customs clearance is through your agent. So which is why I said that the agent would be the point person that you would ask, and you would indicate and you would instruct that I want to utilize contactless clearance, and then they will be able to know what to do. And if you request it on an agent, say, boy, I don't know anything about contactless clearance, tell your agent, contact customs and go find out about contactless clearance, because I've heard about it and that is what I want to utilize. And if the agent says to you, well, there's a high cost for using contactless clearance, also tell them that customs says there's no additional charge associated with contactless clearance inspection. So what is this high charge for? Are you charging me for value added service? And if you're charging me for value added service, what service is that you're charging me for?
No, let me ask you this now. I know it might probably, like I said, it will minimize the wait time for members of the public, but will this have any impact on the actual turnaround time and being able to get my goods or anything like that? I'm just wondering if, apart from, are there any other spillover effects or advantages of the custom contactless clearance process on the overall operations of customs, that kind of thing? Yeah, because we know it's going to improve service delivery and that kind of thing. You should definitely have less irate people down at the port. But what else? What are the other ways? Are the other advantages of this process for us, for you, for everybody?
Yeah. So as you have correctly highlighted, the major benefit to the importer is the reduction in clearance times, the hassle-free nature of contactless clearance, right? And an overall better customer service experience for the importer. The benefits for customs include a more secure and sterile inspection environment. So, Vaughn, you have never been into one of those warehouses, but I can tell you, when you're in there, you have dozens of shipments within a confined space. You have dozens of importers. You may have dozens of warehouse workers who are working within the space, moving the cargo. You may have some agents mixed in there. And then you have a few customs officers working in that space. And the officers will work and do their inspections and then retreat to their offices to complete the process. And when that happens, we are saying that the inspection space is not controlled enough, right? And you have to think about the control of the inspection space in light of one of our major mandates, which is to protect the borders.
Right.
The fact is we have a duty to detect illicit items coming into Jamaica. And we do detect firearms, we do detect ammunition, we do detect other contraband. And when you do that in a space that is crowded, it compromises the security of our staff when they are doing inspections. And so moving the people out of the inspection space and creating a sterile, secure space will benefit what we're trying to do in terms of border security work on behalf of the people of Jamaica. Yes. And then the warehouse operators will also benefit, because one of the things that they would have seen for the most part during the pilot is that the cargo is moving through more quickly through the facilities. So where some warehouse operators would have created a size of a space to store the goods after customs inspection under contactless clearance to wait on the importers to come and collect the good, they realized that they didn't need that space because the throughput was increased significantly and the flow time through the warehouse has been reduced significantly due to contactless clearance.
All right, so it's creating a more efficient workspace in addition to minimizing the wait time for members of the public. So that this sounds, well, obviously, as you can see, seems to be having a lot of other effects and a lot of other benefits on the overall process itself. So we can definitely give kudos to you guys because it seems to be a step in the right direction. You had mentioned that it's primarily known for non-commercial cargo. Any plans or what's the movement towards, I guess, the commercial? Are you still exploring that before we go down that road?
The commercial cargo is a little bit more contentious, right?
Okay.
But what we've indicated to our stakeholders is that we're going to tackle non-commercial first, because when contactless clearance was first conceptualized, we were throwing everything into the barrel, so to speak. And then our major stakeholders, who are, for example, our custom brokers, said, hold on, we have some major concerns about doing commercial cargo as contactless clearance. And we said, all right, let's separate this. Let's deal with the non-commercial. And after we have successfully implemented the non-commercial, then we will come back to the commercial cargo to see how we can apply contactless clearance to that process. So that is something that we have not taken off the table. And that is something that we will discuss with our major stakeholders as we have successfully implemented the non-commercial cargo.
So that one looks like it's going to take a whole different level of discussion and think and planning on all that. But
it will require that, right? And I just wanted to point out to one thing though, is that the concept of contactless clearance is not a new concept, right? So for persons who would have, for example, imported or shipped stuff through the post office. And yes, a lot of businesses, a lot of individuals do send things through the post office. When you do that, the importer is never ever present for an inspection at the post office. Right? And so the concept of contactless clearance is not a new concept, but it's a concept that we're seeking to expand to other areas of our operations.
All right, sounds really good. Shana is asking what were some of the successes from the pilot? What were some of the things that you learned and you really were able to implement or realize that you could scale up or develop or cultivate? That kind of thing. We may have touched on it, but it's always good to reiterate.
Right. So one of the things that we realize is that people are willing to embrace change the more they understand it, right? And we understood the reservations that our customers would have, but the more information that they have about contactless clearance, the more they see the benefit. What worked for us during the pilot is that a part of the pilot was during the busy season, right? And you're talking about busy season where wait times can be from dark in the morning to dark at night when you're clearing your shipment. And so that worked in our favor as well. So people realize that I don't need to spend my productive time at the port waiting on customs to do an inspection, especially for non-commercial cargo. Because you know what, Vaughn? The majority of non-commercial cargo that are cleared at customs are from importers and agents who are compliant. And by compliant, I mean the declaration that they submit and the duty assessment that they get, it doesn't change, right? Because they have submitted the correct information. And we're saying if the data shows that, then what is the need for you to be there? And also where we have issues in terms of pilferage or people missing items, those situations are minute, right? And when they do arise, we are confident that the agents, the warehouse operators, and customs can work together to resolve those issues. The other thing that we would have learned from the pilot is that, a system works, it works, but the payment option must be something that we offer to our importers. We must make it easy for you to pay if you are in Trelawney or you're in St. Elizabeth or you're in Miami and you want to pay for your shipment. We must make it easier for you to do so. Because the thing that would cause somebody to visit a freight forwarder now would be the need to pay their duties or to visit a warehouse. And we are working assiduously to ensure that those options are made available in the coming months.
All right. I think we've gone over a lot of the major points insofar as the contactless clearance process. But I always like to bring things full circle so that we can hit the nail on the head right again. All right. So once again, contactless clearance. We're gonna scale this up when again? We're gonna make the official rollout.
May 1, which is next week, right. Monday.
So next week, Monday, contactless clearance is a full-fledged option.
Non-commercial cargo, right. Yeah. So for your personal shipments, right? So your barrels, your boxes, anything that you send personal shipments through seaports and public bonded warehouse. So this is not something that is being rolled out for the airports. This is exclusively for the seaports, right? And it is non-commercial cargo, or what we call personal cargo, that you don't require a broker for, which means that the value would be below $5,000 cost, insurance, and freight. And you may request it from your agent. Once you have your local agent contact detail, you may contact them and say, look here, I want contactless clearance. And if they say, I don't know nothing about it, say, look here, contact customs because I want contactless clearance. All
right. And this has to, you mentioned non-commercial cargo and so on. And once again, like I said, somebody just walk past you on the road. Hey, Mr. King, Mr. Henry, now you did not talk about this contact. What exactly is the benefit of this again, sir? Because I don't know, I feel like, I don't know, I'm not trusting the dog customs, What I say? What's the benefit of this thing? You know what I'm saying?
Right. So we say once again, we are making it easier for you to clear your cargo. In 2023, the Jamaica Customs Agency does not believe that it is necessary or it is the best use of our customers' time to have them sitting down, moving from waiting area to waiting area, because there's several waiting areas along the way. for you to have customs inspect your cargo. The important thing for you to do is to provide your forwarding agents with the complete and correct information so that they may submit to customs the most accurate declaration. So they need to know the proper description of the content in your personal shipment, and they will need to know the correct value where there are invoices, that those invoices are also provided. Once that is done, our data and our experience tells us that the vast majority, and that when we say vast majority, 90 plus percent of those importers, of those shipments will be cleared hassle-free through customs under contactless clearance because you follow the process.
All right, exactly. All right, so the next question would be probably along, but you're sure it'll go work out? I mean, what kind of guarantees you have? Say, me nah go spend no time, though. I go just come and I just go, make 2 checks and collect my bar, collect my whatever it is I brought in box, whatever the case may be. How long am I really gonna spend on? Because we know when they say we not gonna spend no time in a burden. How long am I really gonna spend on there, Mr. Henry?
Me like it, Vaughn, is that you said no time.
Right.
we're not accustomed saying no time. We're saying far less time, right?
Okay.
Because in any process where you have
absolutely
many people going through the process, then it's going to take you some time, right? But one of the things that we have said, for example, is that if you ship a barrel now to Jamaica, right, and you're waiting on the agent to contact you and say your barrel is ready to be collected, we are saying that our current system allows your agent, once the manifest has been submitted to the customs system, once that has been submitted, your agent may submit your customs declaration. So for the process to work as efficiently as possible, you must provide your agent with the information as quickly as possible. Mm-hmm. And once they submit the declaration, they can tell you, because it's all electronic, Vaughn, your customs charges is $8,000. And once that is paid, then customs will then move to inspection. So a lot of it is dependent on how quickly your agent is working and how quickly you are responding to the information that your agent gives you. Customs inspection will not take very long. It may take a few hours depending on how busy the time is. But guess what? Those few hours could be few hours that you're sitting on your couch watching television, or you're in your office, or you're out and about doing what you need to do, instead of spending it in a hot facility, in hot waiting areas, and then go again standing up in a hot warehouse, waiting for customs to do the inspection and to release your cargo. Clearing cargo is not a comfortable experience. And we're going to say that. We have done a lot to improve the process, but the clearing a cargo is not a comfortable experience. And what we're trying to do with contactless clearance is to say to you, the most important thing that you want to happen is that your goods are cleared, that they are secured, and that you receive it when it is cleared. And we're saying all you need to do is come to the wharf when you need to collect, or ask your agent to deliver it to you. Even better for us and for you.
There you go. All right, there you have it, people. Mr. Henry explained. I think he gave you a pretty good explanation of what the process entails and what's going to happen. Try it out, absolutely, and I definitely give feedback, because at the end of the day, it's not just, I would imagine it's not just a one-way street, right, Mr. Henry? If you go through and you have an experience or whatever the case may be, don't just go on social media, cuss, rant, all of these things. Share the information so that they can make the changes and adjust the process so that it can be beneficial to everybody, because I don't think customs wants you to be complaining and cussing and feeling bad. Right.
No, man, we get enough of that, and we don't want any more of that. But as you said, the process won't be perfect, but we are committed to fixing it and making it work.
Absolutely.
So if the experience doesn't work out or we are selling it, let us know so that we can evaluate what would have gone wrong in your experience, and we can make the adjustment so you don't experience that again, and no other customer experience anything that was negative in the process.
All right, and should persons, once again, if they have any more if they have questions, queries, they want to get more information about contactless clearance, where can they go? What can they do? What should they do?
The Jamaica Customs website is www.jacustoms.gov.jm. If you don't remember that, just Google it and you can click on the link. You may also send us an email at contactlessclearance@jca.gov.jm. Our telephone numbers are 876-922-5140, and I believe that goes up to 8. All right, so you may reach out to us, and we'll do our best to answer your questions and to share the information and to improve your understanding and appreciation for this new process, which will become the way that Customs does clearance of non-commercial cargo this year.
All right, there you have it, people. All right, I don't think you need any more anything else. Like I said, if he outlined all the communication and contact portals. If you have any questions, anything else you want to know, just give Customs a call. Find out what is going on. Use it to your advantage. All right. With that said, I think everybody, it's time for us to wrap. Thank you to everyone who tuned into our discussion, especially those of you who sent in your questions and your comments. And if you have a question, once again, send it in the comments, drop it in the comments, send an email, whatever the case may be. We'll find a way to get you the right information. All right. Now, remember, our audience plays a major part in our show. So if there's anyone in particular you'd like us to have in studio, let us know. We will try to have that person in studio as soon as possible. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Jamaica Information Service to see who will be in studio next. We do this every week, and I have been your host, Vaughn Davis, and this has been Studio 58A Live. Thank you again for joining us, and please have a wonderful rest of the day. And you take care now, Mr. Henry, and enjoy.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it.
And good kudos on the contactless clearance, and let's hope it really goes away towards transforming.
And notwithstanding, you mentioned something about Euro Circle.
I
was going to wear my purple shirt.
No,
today, but the blood is purple, so I don't always need to wear it on the outside.
Look. Let's have this one. Let me have that one. All right, our time now. All right. Arabella Fante, RIP, our time. It's Woolman's Man time now. All right.
I give you that one for today, all right?
Take care. Have a good one and keep it up, all right?
Bye-bye.